Davante Adams going to the Rams kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. I'm here to tell you today why this signing could revolutionize the NFC West. Let's talk about the contract real quick. Davante inked a 2-year, $44 million deal with $26 million guaranteed, and it puts Los Angeles in an immediate win now mode. Obviously, there's talks about Stafford being signed a 2-year extension right now, and I think this gives them a nice, easy 2-year window to go compete for NFC championships and Super Bowls. And for a wide receiver that seems to be in the twilight stage of his career, it seems pretty fair, especially considering the pedigree that Davante Adams brings to whatever team he's on. But something doesn't quite feel right. Something tells me that this might be one of the sneakiest and the best free agency signings the entire offseason. And no, I'm not saying that just because I love Davante Adams. I mean, obviously I do. But at the same point, it's like this signing completely takes the LA offense to a whole new level. This takes a Los Angeles offense, which is already quite radical in the way that they do quick game and dropbacks almost exclusively in the pass game now, and it takes it and turns it into a nuclear bomb. I don't know how else to say it. Sure, it helps when you have Matthew Stafford as a quarterback, and it sure as hell helps when you have Puka Nakua on the other side of the field. We all love Cooper Cup, and we all know his skill set. He's pretty good underneath on his option routes, and his yak ability is pretty solid too. His ability to splice up defenders in space, put a little move on him, and break for a 10-yard gain every single time. But if you really sit down and think about it, that's exactly what Davante Adams has been doing for the past couple of years. Cooper Cup is fantastic at two things. The first is getting open in the flat, and the second is his yak ability. And that's exactly what Davante Adams brings to the table, but arguably even better. Davante has a rich knowledge of knowing where the leverage and spacing of the defense is. And in an evolving NFL where there's more defenses out there than ever, different coverage shells, different variations of quarters, different blitzes, we got nose tackles dropping back in coverage and all of that. Devontae knows everything that's going to happen. And because he's so smart, he can go find space where defenders just aren't. This is something that Los Angeles was going to miss with the departure of Cup. Obviously, we all know how smart Cup is. I mean, he just once listed off the entire coverage and what his indicators were to a reporter one time.
Touchdown specifically, your defender went and blitzed. What did you see there? How were you able to use that to your advantage?
Yeah, they just had a little 3 deep fire zone, brought the nickel off the edge, safety dropped down. It didn't look like they were doing a replacement fire zone, so I knew at the back away we were going to get three pushing through. That I had an opportunity to kind of run in there if I could beat my guy and just had to beat the safety to the end zone.
Believe it or not, it's actually not that hard to learn. But to think about that in real time is truly the thing that makes them the most intelligent guys. One of the things that the Jets did a whole lot with Davante Adams, and what I'm expecting to see in LA, is that they've used him on stick routes a lot. And we've seen this clip from Cooper Cup a lot, motioning across the field, running a 3-4 yard stick route, and then getting 10 yards a pop. A lot of people can do this, but only very few can do this very well. And it just turns out that Cooper Cup and Davante Adams both do this way better than everybody else. Davante has super good knowledge when it comes to knowing where the leverage and spacing of defenders are. And because he's so smart, the Jets used him a whole lot in the flat. And he found open spots where defenders weren't. And he would catch the ball, run forward, and get 8 or 9 yards. And if you really look at that, we've seen that a whole lot from Cooper Cup also. Cooper Cup loves being in motion, loves not coming to a stop, and running a 5-yard route given 10 yards. It seems silly, it seems stupid at times, but you can't argue the effectiveness. Every time either one of these guys gets the ball in their hands, it pretty much ends in a guaranteed first down. But why is it so effective? Well, lately defenses have been playing something called quarters coverage. Quick disclaimer: quarters coverage isn't exactly one coverage, it's more like a bunch of coverages just lumped together under one umbrella. And essentially, what happens in quarters is that everybody drops back deep. There's the cornerbacks, there's the safeties, they all drop and make sure that nothing gets over the top. You also have three defenders down on the first level, but that leaves the flats vulnerable. Because the flats become vulnerable, teams, and the Rams, most out of all of them, have been attacked in that the most. They realize that it may not be worth their time trying to scheme up defenses that are already super disciplined, trying to find gaps over top. In fact, if you looked at Matthew Stafford's passing chart from the past couple of years, you'll realize that he doesn't really like attacking this coverage very much. And why should he? It's super dangerous to throw a ball against quarters coverage deep. I mean, unless the safety just gets absolutely burnt. But other than that, it's not really recommended. They rather just dink and dunk their way down the field. And that comes from a quite bit of patience. Most head coaches and offensive coordinators I've met just aren't patient enough to do it. Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay are very patient people. They don't feel bad if, they take 5 throws to gain 20 yards. They don't care about that because they know that eventually, if they get close to the end zone, they can strike. So Davante Adams kind of brings that aspect of the offense back. Sure, Cooper Kupp's gone, but now you can throw to someone in the flat that can go out, burst, and gain 12 yards. Davante has been doing that, and it's been very successful for him. But I think that's what Puka Nacua is going to be doing for this part of his career. I will go out and argue that Davante Adams is going to serve a bigger and better purpose for Los Angeles. The second thing that Davante Adams does a fantastic job of is adjusting on fade routes. And guess what throws the Rams have been really struggling to hit the past couple of seasons? It's actually the fade ball. McVay has done everything to help his team attack that part of the field. Instead of the Marcus Robinson running fades, not being quite athletic enough or refined enough to make contested catches, why not have Davante Adams do it? Let's do a quick breakdown of how Davante Adams runs his fade route. First, the fade route starts out with the hesitation release. Essentially, it's a quick shuffle to close the gap between himself and the defender. By closing the gap, any sudden move that Davante Adams makes from this point onward is more deadly than ever. If the defensive back plays smart and decides to keep backing up, well, Davante Adams can just stop his route at about 10 yards, and Aaron Rodgers or whoever will just throw him back shoulder, and it will be a nice pickup. But if the defensive back becomes aggressive, tries to lunge at Davante, or just completely loses his footing, well, it's an even bigger game, and arguably way worse. In fact, the two most common routes that Davante Adams was on last season was the fade route and the out route. And because the Rams have been struggling to throw this route for the past couple of seasons, even though they really want to, I think this presents a perfect opportunity for LA's passing attack to get even better. If it turns out that they actually get man coverage instead of quarters or cover three, well, Matthew Stafford has an immediate out. All he has to do is find Davante Adams and throw it to him. Davante has become known for his wildly athletic ability to rotate his body and keep his feet in bounds. It is awesome. Davante just has the uncanny ability to just keep his body in control, keep his feet in bounds, and, make the whole crowd cheer with joy when they realize that 2 feet were down and it's a catch. And every time he does it, I always sit here as a wide receiver myself and ask myself, how the hell does he do it? It's like watching a ballet mixed with cannonballs shooting at the ballerina, and somehow they invade every single one of them. Davante Adams can do this from pretty much anywhere spot on the field. He can do it close up, he can do it out wide. Hell, he can even do it on slot fades. That is the reason why I believe LA is in a perfect spot for the next couple of years, and why I believe Davante Adams is going to do amazing things for them. I appreciate you coming out to the channel today. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe and ring the bell down below so that way you know next time that I upload on here. Also, be sure to check out my stuff on Vikings Happy Hour. I recently started just posting on there again also. And also follow me on Twitter at Jack's Film Room. And I post a lot of my kind of like miniature little takes there. And I'm also trying to get into posting some lo-fi, chill, mixtape videos, sort of. And if you guys are just kind of into something to just soothe the senses and just have a little fun with, please go check that out. I would really appreciate it if you did.